In 2014, researchers took two groups of men. The control group weren't given any instructions, but the second group were trained on a form of an ancient breathwork technique known as kumbhaka. And after just 10 days of practicing this breathing technique, alongside repeated cold exposure, both groups were injected with a dose of endotoxins to intentionally trigger an inflammatory response in their body. What they noticed was that the group that had been practicing this form of breathing showed a 50% drop in levels of inflammatory cytokines. But not just that, their bodies were actively releasing an anti-inflammatory protein known as IL-10 almost instantaneously after receiving the shot, at a nearly 200% increase compared to the control group. What's even more fascinating than that was that a group of isolated sages known as the Yogis knew all of this without any studies or experiments. So what did these Yogis know that modern science is only now starting to understand? The earliest records of structured breathing protocols, or pranayama, appeared in ancient Sanskrit texts known as the Upanishads. And in these texts lay the secrets of century-old practices that have built the foundation of most modern health practices. But at the very core of these principles, the yogis revolved all of their practices behind the breath. Their belief was simple. By mastering the breath, you gain control over your nervous system. And by rewiring your nervous system, you can autonomously hold power over your mind. One of the oldest pranayama techniques is called nadi shodhana, and it's a practice where you intentionally close one nostril and breathe through the other. They actually did a study on this where they took a group of 15 men with systolic blood pressure, and after just 15 minutes of alternate nostril breathing, their blood pressure fell to normal and healthy ranges. Another very powerful technique the yogis used was a practice known as kumbhaka, which is the classic slow belly breathing that you usually see these days. Now, the whole point of this is by breathing fewer breaths, you are rewiring your neural circuitry and training it to use the oxygen more efficiently. There was actually a study done where they took a group of men and did a variant of kumbhaka, going as low as only 4 breaths per minute. Now, over the course of 60 days, this group showed a 20 to 25% reduction in cortisol versus their baseline, and anecdotally felt significant improvements in their sleep, their stress tolerance, and their agitation levels. Now, one of the most common practices in pranayama is a form called brahmari, which is humming while doing controlled nasal breathing. This was a technique many yogis would use to clear their minds before spending hours in meditation. But the science behind this is actually shocking. One study found that if you were to just hum while doing any form of breath work, your nasal nitric oxide levels could increase by up to 1500% versus if you were just to breathe normally. Nitric oxide is crucial for oxygen distribution, blood flow, and overall cardiovascular health. What fascinates me the most about all of this is that modern pharmacology has spent trillions of dollars into insidious prescriptions that don't even provide half of the benefits of simple yogic breathwork. And what I find so interesting is that as we go deeper into the science, we only confirm what our ancestors knew before us.